Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We have the gorgeous Sania today. Not only is she my model today, she's also my cousin. And we are going to be doing a gorgeous kind of a brown eye with a light lilac touch. She's wearing a gorgeous sari by Farah Talib. And I'm going to show you how we're going to achieve this look. So the first thing that I want to put is the Half Moon Brightening Eye Patch by Setua. Sania has been attending her brother's wedding. And there have been, of course, late nights and a lot of fun. So we're going to apply these to just kind of brighten that under eye area. Right, and I'm also going to put this Boschia luminizing black mask on her, on the rest of her face. It's a peel off mask because I tell you guys all the time, skin prep is really important. So I'm going to apply this on her face. Right, so we're just going to let this dry and then peel it off. So it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to keep the under eye patches on her eyes for that time as well. And then I'll show you the next step. So I'm just going to peel off this mask from her face now. So this is great to get any impurities out of the skin. Also great for like a quick skin prep. Anywhere where it's not dry yet, I'll just remove it with my towel. For the rest, I'm just going to peel it off. And especially the eye patch, you'll notice that the eye under the eye actually does look brighter. So it'll help us when we're doing concealing, etc. Now I'm just going to take a wet kind of a cloth here, face towel or a washcloth if you guys have, and remove the mask off the rest of her face. So now I'm going to moisturize her face. So as you know, I prefer, and for everybody who doesn't know, I prefer doing eyes first and then I do the skin. So I'm just going to moisturize her face with this moisturizer. And I'm going to drag it till under her eyes as well. I'm going to apply an eye cream before I do concealer, etc. But I'm going to do that later because I know that once I do eye makeup, I'm also going to wipe around the area. So while we prep her eyes and do the eye makeup, her skin can be moisturized. Tarte Shape Tape in Deep. So I'm going to take some of that on my hand, and I'm going to take some of this, the Retoucher by Charlotte Tilbury here, and this is in 3 medium, and I'm mixing that together close to cover her eyelid with. So this will act like a color corrector, this mix on her eye. You will also start giving this brown kind of a base for the eye that I want to do on her today. Now I'm just going to add some Creme Brulee on the socket here. So we've prepped her eyelid now, and I'm just going to brush up her brows. So I'm just going to brush them right now. I tend to do the final shape once the skin is done and after the eye makeup and skin is done. But I'm going to fill this in slightly just to give she already has a great shape. So I'm just going to fill it in where I feel there are gaps with the pencil. And I'm going to do hair-like strokes because I don't like painted on Instagram brows. I think they kind of look strange and make you look a little older and harsh. So we're going to do soft kind of strokes here just to fill in gaps. And I'm taking Morphe M441 brush, and I'm taking my dip down here on my brush, and I'm going to apply it to her eye. So you have to work with these really quickly because they tend to be long lasting and they dry very fast. A lot of people say they have difficulty blending these. It's most probably because you're spending too much time in between the blending. So you need to almost work them into the skin immediately. And this is great, like again, if you've been watching my tutorials, you know this is one of my fail-safes for eye makeup. They make the base of my eye. A lot of the eye makeup goes on top of them and then it stays. So I'm someone who does love these a lot. Okay, and I'm going to take these two colors and start building it in her crease. So just taking these two again, I keep dipping them. And if you see how I'm holding the brush as well, I'm not holding it like this because again it transfers more product when you're doing that. Hold it from the edge of the brush because we want it to blend very softly. So you're creating that crease color here. Now I'm going to pick up my Nars quadrant, and this is in Mauve, and I'm going to use this dark brown from this palette and start building her corners. So just in her corners to darken that edge a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick up my pencil brush, and I'm going to use the same brown, close Sania, and I'm going to start darkening her lash line as well, almost like using the powder as an eyeliner, because I want this eyeliner to be smokier, smudgy. I'm also going to do the same thing under her eye, same brown. And now I'm going to take my dip down and apply it also to the waterline. Pull the waterline away from her eyeball a little bit when I'm doing this. I'm also going to apply it on the top lash lines. We're tight lining right now. So I'm going to go in one more time with the same dip down in her waterline just to darken that pigment in her eye. Take it to the till right of beginning of the eye. I'm going to mix these two colors here, and I'm just going to start building this color a little bit towards the crease here. Darken that crease a little bit. I'm going to do like a brown slash lilac kind of an eye to go with what she's wearing. So it's almost like a colored soft smoky kind of an eye. That once upon a time when I worked at M.A.C, I used to apply on my eyes a lot, which is beautiful iris. This eyeshadow, I'm going to take some of it and I'm going to apply it in the center. Now when you're applying with your flat brushes, make sure you're not swiping like this. A lot of people do a lot of this when they're doing makeup. You're kind of removing it while applying it. So make sure that you kind of place and pat. So pat, 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 pat. It's all about kind of working it into the lid, the color. And Sania's got a natural, very pretty brown eye. So purple and brown will really go with that color wardrobe. So it's also about looking at features and looking at colors that go with the skin tone and the eye color. So I know this is going to really pop on her eye. Can you see? So I haven't wet my brush. I haven't done anything like that. It's just application, making sure that you are placing the product correctly makes a huge difference. I haven't wet the brush like I mentioned. It's just about applying layer upon layer, very soft layers, not thick layers, to intensify the color. I'm just taking a clean brush here, no product. I'm just blending these corners. So always make sure when you apply any color on your eye that you blend it out with the colors next to them. So there's some brown here on the crease. I'm making sure that it's blending into it by just taking a clean brush and going back and forth in the crease, right? So making sure that this is being blended. I'm going to go ahead and apply it on her eye, extending it out a little bit because I want to draw her eye out because she's got these lovely big eyes. So I'm blending that out onto the line we've created to really smudge it. So when you're trying to blend it on top, the pencil brush on top of the eyeliner, it's better to have the eyes shut. Otherwise, the client's eye can get a little bothered if you tell them to look down and do it. So keep it closed, shut, and then we blend that line on top. And I'm going to take some of this bronzy kind of a color from the same palette. Look up, Sania. And I'm going to take it under here. It adds this kind of bronzy, light kind of bronze tone here. So I'm just adding that right under the eye. And I'm going to take this slightly reddish brown here and mix it with the darker tone in the Huda Beauty Warm Obsessions palette. Close, Sania. And now also blend this on top of the corner of where we blended the black Mohave palette. So I'm just taking these colors, I'm only blending on the corners of that line that we created. I'm just taking the same mixture of the reddish brown and the dark and working it into that corner of the eye. And now I'm going to take a clean brush again. This is the same brush that I initially took just to blend. Close, Sania. And I'm going to just blend it. Blend all of this color that we've applied here. Nothing too harsh. Can you see how soft the blending is? It should feel very soft, nothing harsh. I'm just going back and forth over where I've applied all these colors to blend them further into the eye. Open, Sania. Right? I'm going to add one more layer in the center, right at the center. I'm not going now towards the sides, just in the center. I'm going to intensify this color. Blend that out a little bit softly. A lot of the YouTube comments that I also get have to do with the fact that you guys are saying that I apply too many eyeshadows, and great makeup is about adding a lot of little colors, tones, details to create that stunning effect. So it doesn't happen with two eyeshadows, guys, right? I know, I hope and pray that that was possible, but it's not. Now guys, for all of you that say that you don't have these and you want to do it with whatever you have at home, that's good as well. You can match the shadows. That the reason why I show you guys the products and the colors is that you can even create this with similar tones that you have at home. Doesn't have to be the exact same products. If you can buy them, great. If you can't, it's also achievable with whatever you have at home as long as the tones match. So I've kind of highlighted her brow bone there. On her eye especially, I'm gonna wing it out, but I don't like the idea of having very heavy lashes on the ends. I've cut like one, like almost this much from the lash, and I'm gonna use some Huda Beauty glue and I'm gonna apply it to the strip. Always let it dry a little bit. Always make sure that her eye is open and looking down. So Sania gonna open and look down so that it can mold correctly to the eye. With an eye shut, आँख जब बंद होती है, खोलना आप सानिया, नीचे देखो, जब आँख बिल्कुल बंद होती है तो sometimes the lash is not applied correctly. Look up, down. So I'm just gonna dry that out, and then again, keep her eye open and attach the lash. Any place where the glue has hit on top of her eye, I just keep wiping with any thin brush that you have while it sticks. So just make sure you make sure that the lash sticks correctly. Some people rush नीचे देखना फिर Sania during this step, and then the lashes tend to come off or are not attached correctly. So keep watching, keep making the client or look up, Sania, and then look down so that you know that the lash is being applied or has been applied correctly. So now I'm going to go back in with my brown eyeliner and I'm going to cover the strip of where I applied the lash and the glue. I'm just going back and applying another layer of my liner. I'm going to blend this on top of where we applied the liner. Do the corners here as well. Right, and now I'm gonna make her look up and kind of intensify this edge with the same brown, the lower edge, corners, because in the center we've added that bronzy brown color. In the corner we want to add a more deeper tone to lift the eye. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some of my Anastasia Dewy setting spray. And now I'm going to go back in with my beautiful iris eyeshadow, but this time I'm going to wet my brush a little bit and I'm going to scrape some of this shadow out on my hand, because you don't want to ever do it on your palette. What ends up happening is it tends to make the eyeshadow harden. So I'm just wetting my brush and going back in with the beautiful iris and now applying it to the center again to intensify this color just in the center. The reason why we don't apply it to the entire eye is wherever you will apply eyeshadow that has with a wet brush, it tends to kind of harden and become very hard to blend. So I tend to do this right at the end. So you are able to just do it where you need to, and then the rest has already been blended, etc. around the area around. So never start with this step. Just right at the end, and I'm just doing it at the center here. And I'm going to use cocoa and henna, these two colors, and just go in the outer crease and blend that in a little bit. Right? And now the rest of the finishing I want to do when I see how my skin ends up looking. So I'm going to take a wipe now and I'm going to go and clean around the eye before I start my skin work. Now I'm going to come in and apply some eye cream on her, and I'm going to just mix both the creams in here. It tends to be like a duo like that. Once for day, once for night, I tend to mix them. And it has a slight reflection in the product as well, like almost like a highlighter, but very dewy. So it helps to brighten this area while it also kind of conditions the under eye area. And if you notice, इसमें थोड़ी सी reflection है, तो साइन just go back and forth like this. Product के अंदर भी reflective कोई particle है, which makes it really nice to use under the eyes to kind of brighten. We already had some cream on her face, but I'm going to go ahead and apply just a tiny bit more because I wiped her face right now. And her chest area also, we just want to go in and apply it everywhere. Now I'm going to go back in with my Anastasia Dewy set and now spray it all over her face. And again, with the primer, don't work it into the skin too much. I'm going to focus it on the T-zone. I'm not putting it all over her face, just a T-zone, and then kind of spread, because as it is, once I start working foundation into her skin, it's going to go on the sides of the face as well. But I want the rest of her face to look very dewy and just the T-zone be mattifying a little bit, because of course you don't want that to look like it's super shiny. Right, I'm going to take the same primer upper dekhna and just go under her eye also. And now I'm going to go into my color correction. So the first thing we're going to do is take some Tarte Deep again. Okay, so this is for Sania's color correction. It's not her finishing concealer. And if you really want to know what I'm talking about, join our classes. Our students will know what I'm talking about when they're watching these videos. So I'm just going to mix this together, and I'm going to start going towards the areas that need to be color corrected. So that's under her eye here, around her mouth, which is predominantly where most of us need color correction. It tends to be around the mouth, sides of the nose, under the eyes, and usually on the forehead as well, because we tend to, the sun tends to kind of hit you first there, so one tends to get pigmentation there as well. Now I'm going to go in with one of my fail-safes right now. I'm quite in love with the product. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. All those makeup artists, even, you know, if you're watching it for yourself, I'm constantly saying get this product. It's great for a really beautiful dewy kind of glow on the face. So I apply it under and I apply it over as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply this on her face. This is a great product even if you want to wear it just as it is without makeup. If your skin allows it, like I add a little bit of concealer and then just apply this product, and it works very well like that as well. I'm applying it kind of everywhere, even to the areas that we've done a mattifying primer on, because it doesn't have a shine. It almost looks like just really good healthy skin once it's finished. I'm going to apply it to her chest as well. You know, I'll apply it to arms when I'm doing brides, etc. Because all of it just ends up looking like great shiny dewy skin. And if you notice already, we don't have foundation on yet, but the skin is already starting to do this like kind of almost reflective shine thing. So I'm going to mix this all over her skin before I apply her foundation. And if you noticed, I applied the darker color correcting color to the sides of her forehead as well. It's also going to kind of add dimension to her and make it look like her forehead is also contoured. So now for her skin mix, I'm going to take a few colors and mix them together. So I've taken some Stay Naked foundation and I've added it in 60 WY on her. I'm going to add Huda Beauty Toffee into it. And then I'm going to add Stay Naked in 51 WY, right? So these are all like the tones on her face, different tones because none of us ever have one tone. And I'm going to apply some Hollywood Flawless Filter into that as well to make her skin mix. Right, so I'm just going to mix that in and start applying it to her face. I'm using a damp beauty blender for all those who keep asking me, okay, is it dry, is it damp? So mine is always damp. I tend to like to use a damp beauty blender. So I'm just taking this mix, applying it all over her face. Remember that a lot of the highlighting that we'll do, picking on her tones, we're going to do with our concealing color. And Sania has a golden tone. If you see, her general tone is golden. Her chest is lighter than her face. And I'm trying to match her face as opposed to her chest, because people tend to they tend to match the chest and the face starts to look a little gray, and I don't like that. So we're doing it the reverse way. So when I'm going down towards her chest, I'm just going to add a pump of the Cool Ivory by Bobbi Brown into the same foundation mix, and I'm going to apply it. Just keep blending it into the skin and look up now. So make sure you're going under that jaw as well. I'm going to go in now and use my Nars Creme Brulee and kind of start applying that in the high points of her face where I want to highlight. So I do a lot of my highlighting. A lot of people think of highlighting and they think of reflective, shiny powders. Highlighting I tend to do mostly with a lot of my liquids, contouring and highlighting. It's all about working it into the skin with your liquids so it looks like structure as opposed to just really shiny faces, which I feel we see too much of now. So highlighting is all about bringing that light onto the face, and it doesn't need to happen with reflective powders. That's just the cherry on the top, and that should be little, not too much. It's all about really working with your light and dark concealers and foundations to really create that lightness. So I'm putting it in the center of her nose here. As you can see, I've also applied it under her eyes, and it's immediately brightened her tone. At the same time, because we applied it her own kind of golden tone in the undertone of her face, you can see that it's already looking like her face is contoured. So by the contrast of that foundation that's under this and the lightness we're putting on top, her face will start to look very contoured. And I'm going to take my smaller brush now, the same Creme Brulee I'm using on her. I'm going into the corner here and also making sure that we apply concealer there. So just working it into that entire area under her eye, making it seem nice and seamless. And great makeup is all about that blend, right? So it's about applying the product and making sure that it's sitting well on the skin, right? So now I'm going to go in with my Tarte Deep again, and this time around I'm going to use it as her contouring color. So now I'm going to use this again. Liquid contouring and liquid highlighting is my jam. So it's not about just powders all over the face, it's about sculpting. And sculpting, I feel, happens best when you use a lot of the liquid as opposed to even cream contour. I find it to be too harsh and I think it's hard to blend. So I'm a fan of liquid contouring. So I'm just blending it as I apply it to give her face that dimension, but in a very soft kind of manner. I'm going to go under her jaw also. And blending it around. So I'm just taking the same color down and structuring her nose now. Always connect it to the crease, guys. Don't let it hang in the air. So I'm just going to blend. A lot of people just leave. I find it very odd when people just leave their like nose contour just hanging in the air like that. So make sure that you kind of blend it out. I'm going to go back in with my lighter color, the Creme Brulee, and I'm going to add that in the center of her nose to highlight the bridge, and also on the sides of where we applied the darker color, right? I'm just setting in that Creme Brulee under her eyes also now. So I'm going to take a big fluffy kind of brush and apply translucent powder all over the areas where we need to. So I'm going to go under her cheek here. A lot of people tend to bake very harsh. I like to do it with the big fluffy brush. I feel it's softer like that. So I'm going to go around the areas of her face, here on top of her forehead as well, nose, and then under the eye I'm going to go in with my sponge. So I'm going to keep some powder under the eye for a little bit so it sets while I do the lip. So now I'm applying some Hadron by M.A.C as my base color, and I'm going to apply Pink Plaid, which is one of my favorite M.A.C colors. It's like has like a lilac undertone in the pink on top of it. Stretch your lip a little bit like you're smiling. So really making sure we're applying it all over the base color. So we're not trying to do an ombre here. It's almost like the base color is going to give it that lift, because I want this entire look to be tones of pink and lilac, so it looks very uniform. So I love this. This is one of my favorite pinks actually on the lips to do this mix that I'm doing here. And look how gorgeous that looks with the eye. It really complements that lilac eye. And now apply some more of this bronzy color just in the center as we did. I'm just making that stronger. And I'm going to take my mascara, first apply it on the lower lashes because I want these to be really nice and strong to give this look a nice flirty feel. I'm going to use some Huda's Legit Lash Mascara, and I'm going to use the side that is to curl and lengthen, because she's already wearing false eyelashes, so it doesn't need really a lot of volume. Just want to lengthen those. So I'm just going to use that. Look straight again. Right, and now I'm going to go ahead and make her eyebrows stronger. So I'm going to use my brush here, this flat brush, and use the same mauve brown eyeshadow and start creating a stronger brow, because now we have a finished eye, you can see how much more her eye can carry. So you can tell that you have space to do a lot more on that brow, and I'm making it stronger now, which is why I always do the finishing in the end of the eyebrow, because you have an idea, okay, the look is soft, strong. That makes a huge difference in the intensity of the brow. So with this look, I want to go slightly more intense. I'm going to use some of my Creme Brulee again and clean around this brow. And I'm going to go back in with my Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered, and I'm going to take some of this. It's called Bubbly up again, and I'm going to just apply that in the corner of her eye. So now I'm going to go in with my Narcissist Unfiltered 2 palette, and I'm going to use the color Candid. So if you see, it goes with the entire color wardrobe of her makeup look. Smile. So it's almost like a lilac-y pink blush, and this look to me just really like says spring as well, because spring I kind of associated with these kind of colors as well. So it's a really pretty kind of a look that we've done here. And I'm going to go in now with my Pat McGrath highlighting trio, and I'm going to pick the cooler tones here, mix it with a touch of gold. I don't want this look to read very gold. I want to stick to cool tones because it's going to go with the look. Smile a bit. And I'm going to add that to highlight her cheek. Turn this side again, smile. And if you notice in this palette, this particular color in the highlighting trio in Pat McGrath actually has like a bit of a pinky lilac in it. Smile again. So that I'm placing on her cheekbone here and the sides of her face. Turn again, smile. And smile. Sania has these lovely dimples when she smiles. And I'm going to take now my Pink Sands edition, and I'm also going to apply that to her collarbone area and her chest area here a little bit, and just slightly at the edge of her nose. So I'm going to go in with the Angelic lip gloss now and just slightly mix that in with the color. Look slightly 3/4 again, and just on top of that, a final swipe of the pink plaid again, lipstick, just to take away. I don't want it to look too much like a gloss is highlighting. I just want to add that shine, but also not let it take away from the color of the lip. I'm going to go back in with my Anastasia Dewy set and now spray it all over her face. And I also like to do this. I'm going to show it to you guys so you guys do it too. When you have clients that are showing skin on their hands, etc., also make sure you also highlight those areas so you don't have skin that looks not highlighted that's showing. So I'll kind of go with my brush and tend to put it everywhere. Sponge I'm going to take now, where I've sprayed that Anastasia spray, and kind of just dab that all over the face. Now you guys have it. It's a beautiful brown lilac kind of a look. We've done like a pink lip with it. It's one of my favorite mixes. You guys can see everything is beautifully blended. The cool tones that we've used on her warm skin, beautiful effect, beautiful contrast. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and looking forward to bringing lots more to you very soon. If you like our content, please like, share and subscribe. You know the drill. See you guys soon.